1992, the Sockers hosting the St. Louis Storm. That goal by Thompson Usean in the rare green San Diego uniform pulled the Sockers to within one against a desperate St. Louis team trying to find a way to get into the playoffs. The Sockers desperately try to tie this game in the waning moments, peppering former teammate Jim Gorsuch in the Storm net. But St. Louis hung on and prevailed. They win an important game by a final score of 4-3 and keep alive their slim playoff hopes. For Sockers head coach Ron Newman, a loss, but still time to say Happy St. Patrick's Day to you. Tonight, the Sockers back on the road. We're in the Pacific Northwest. Live from the Tacoma Dome, it's the San Diego Sockers and the Tacoma Stars. Hello again, everybody. I'm Randy Hahn. Welcome to the San Diego Cable Sports Network on this Friday night here in the Pacific Northwest. A glorious day up here, warm temperatures, and tonight inside, the San Diego Sockers and Tacoma Stars promising to heat it up for you as the Sockers wind down the regular season, only 5 games to go, and still try to clinch first place overall and home field advantage all the way through the postseason. As you see in the standings in the Major Soccer League, the Sockers on top, a full 4 games ahead of Dallas. Their magic number over the Sidekicks remains 3. Then you see Tacoma right now holding down the last potential playoff spot, 8 games out, but there's still a logjam. Tacoma, Cleveland, Wichita, and Baltimore, and St. Louis with an outside chance, all still competing to make the playoffs. Looking at the Sockers versus the Stars this year, some things stand out. In the first quarter between these two teams, Tacoma has outscored the Sockers 8-6. But after that, look at San Diego pouring it on with 39 goals to 15. And look at the goalkeeping Ron Newman has gotten from Victor Noguera against the Stars, 3.90 to 7.24 for Tacoma. And speaking of the coach, he joins us now here at the Dome. Ron, first let's talk about the team. You had that great 11-game winning streak earlier in the season. Lately, you've been playing 500 ball, 5 wins, 5 losses in your last 10, and you've lost 2 in a row. Is the team a little flat right now?
Yeah, we've got to be concerned with where we are at the moment, Randy, because we've lost Ben Collins, as you know, and we've got to try to overcome that.
All right, let's talk about that because no one does know that except you and I at this point. Ben Collins, the most valuable player in the championship series last season, out tonight and maybe out for a while. He had knee surgery scheduled for tonight. Ron, what can you tell us?
I think only that they've gone in with the scope. The good news would be that we only lose him for 2 weeks and he'll be back in time for the playoffs. The bad news, of course, if we lost him more than 2 weeks.
What about tonight's game as far as how you'll accommodate for his absence and maybe looking beyond tonight as you try and figure out how to shore up a defense that'll obviously be missing a key player?
Well, we're going to put Alex Golovnia over there to team up with Kevin Crowe, and of course we've got Terry Woodbury and David Banks who cover the other defensive position. So we're okay as long as we don't get any more injuries or lose any players in the middle of the game at the back, because that's what's caused us some of the problems just recently is we've lost a player for 3 fouls and suddenly you're trying to find an extra defender and we don't have one.
Ron, you're one of the rare teams that has won a game here in the Tacoma Dome. The Stars, along with the Sockers, have the best home records in the league. What makes them so good in this building?
Well, that's strange because we've always liked playing here, but they've got tougher as the season's gone on. You know, we beat them pretty badly, but when they come here, they seem to play a special game of ball, and it's going to be a tough one tonight again because it's very difficult to break them down, Randy.
All right, good luck tonight, Ron.
Thanks, Randy.
Sockers coach Ron Newman, we're set to go. The San Diego Sockers on the road against the Stars here at the Tacoma Dome, and we'll be back with the opening kickoff here on the San Diego Cable Sports Network. Getting set to take on the Tacoma Stars here on the San Diego Cable Sports Network. We are glad you're with us on this Friday night as we head into this game. Paul Wright is one that Ron Newman would like to get started early in this contest. Look at those numbers against the Stars. 14 goals in the prior 6 games. However, he has gone without a goal in the last 2 games. So Ron Newman would like to jumpstart him. Tacoma has defensed the Sockers' counterattack very well in the last 2 games between these teams. We'll watch for that. And also the closeness. Look at 21. Almost half of the 53 games between these teams have been 1-goal games. That has not been the case this year, but over the years it has. From the Stars' standpoint, they certainly do lack some firepower. Only 23 goals in the 6 games against the Sockers. Dale Mitchell with basically the bulk of those, and of course Tacoma battling for a playoff spot as they try and find a way to finish in the top 4 in the league. There's Victor Noguera starting in goal once again tonight for the San Diego Sockers. 4.62 goals against average. That is the best in all of the Major Soccer League. Victor tonight starting his 50th straight game in goal over the past 2 seasons, regular season and playoffs combined. There's a look from our end zone camera as tonight's game not only is being broadcast live in Southern California on the San Diego Cable Sports Network, but also nationally on Sports Channel America. Down at the other end for the Stars, their veteran keeper in net, Mike Dowler, a 5.68 goals against average. That's 5th best in the league. He has really worked a bulk for Tacoma this year, appearing in his 35th game of the season here this evening. So a couple of veteran netminders and a couple of teams with a long history in the Major Soccer League. This is one of many, many meetings. In fact, the teams have played numerous times before. This will be encounter number 54. The Sockers have dominated the series, out playing Tacoma to the tune of 35 wins to 18 for the Stars. Stars led by the man on your right, talking to our referee, Keith Weller. Head coach of Tacoma now in his 2nd season, former assistant coach of the San Diego Sockers. There's the whistle, and we are underway. The Sockers in their road blues, defending the net to our right, attacking right to left. The Stars in their home white jerseys and blue shorts and white socks as the ball comes back to Mike Dowler in the Tacoma net. Playing it up the near side, and Kevin Crow, whose presence on defense becomes even more critical now with the injury to Ben Collins, playing it up to Dougherty. Paul plays one off Greg Ian. This will be David Banks trying to push it by Dowler. Banks with a rare rush forward there. Took the opportunity, but Dowler comes up big. Sockers trying to keep the pressure on here in the early going. This is Crow back in midfield for San Diego. We're in the 1st minute. Now Paul Wright, shut down last 2 games at Cleveland and then Tuesday night at home against St. Louis. Works the give and go with Usean. Receives it a little late, and the shot goes off Carl Valentine out of play for a corner kick. There's Mike Dowler, who made an appearance in the All-Star game as a replacement this year for Wichita's Chris Pete, having himself a solid season for the Stars. He's not been the problem, really. The problem for Tacoma has been their offense and their road play. They have the worst road record in the entire league at 2-15. Now the corner kick. Usean over the ball for San Diego. Back to Dougherty. He scores. Paul Dougherty roofs it over Dowler, and the Sockers get on the board 51 seconds into the game as Paul Dougherty scores for the 34th time this year. Another look as Usean from the corner kick, kind of stutter step first, and that set the Tacoma defense in motion. Dougherty left unmarked, puts it between the 2 defenders, and then goes up high. Dowler kind of tied up in front there by Ladouceur as well for San Diego. So the Sockers get the early goal here and go up by a score of 1-0 over the Stars. Now quickly Golovnia back for San Diego on defense. Sockers hurry the ball back up to center. Bill Crook there for the Stars. Sends it back for Dowler. Waiting for the official scoring play. Usean obviously getting the assist on Dougherty's 31st. That comes at the 51-second mark as we get a foul up at midfield. You see one of our referees there, Kelly Mock. He's on the field tonight with Brian Hall. Terry Dixon, the 3rd official, as Golovnia marks up against Sean Medved. On the restart, Noguera kicks it back out to midfield. Now here's Megson, bumped by Woodbury as it goes into the corner. Woodbury trying to work it back. A chance for the Stars as it's crossed by Guevara in front. Now Wes Wade for San Diego, trying to dig it out of traffic. Does, and plays it across to Golovnia. Now the Sockers on the attack. Tim Whitman 3-on-2 with Ladouceur and Wade. Tries to find an opening to get it to Ladouceur. Now Jacques in front of the net, kicked at it. It comes to Golovnia. He turns it over to Medved. And now it'll come free to midfield. Jim Guevara turning away from a former teammate, Jacques Ladouceur. Lead pass intended for Dale Mitchell. Crow got back. Now Woodbury plays it across for Whitman. He can't get it. Here's Guevara. Has Mitchell in front as the offense sets for Tacoma. Makes it, kicks it right back to Guevara. He'll try and unload from there, does, but it's blocked by Whitman as Neil Megson ran onto that ball from midfield and completely miskicked it back into the corner. And this is Woodbury for San Diego. 1-0 our score. We've played 2.5 minutes of this opening period live at the Tacoma Dome as Paul Wright collects it up at the line. Back there is Nicky Ristich for Tacoma. Does a good job to contain Wright and get it back to Dowler. And here's Ristich. Across to the veteran, Bill Crook. He'll send it back for Dowler. Crook had his 400th career block earlier this season. Coming off a big year last season when he scored 45 points, but defensively this year, Crook unable to match those kind of numbers as Dowler throws it out of play. And there's your scoring play. Dougherty from UCN, 51 seconds into the contest. Paul's had quite a season. That gives him 60 points now. He's got a 12-game point scoring streak as he extends it a little further with that goal tonight. Clearly one of the top line players for San Diego now, Paul Dougherty. Let's look at Mike Dowler with that ball thrown out of play a moment ago. Back to the live action as David Banks collects it at center. Sockers lead here 1-0. Crow gets pressure from Valentine, back across for Banks. And now Joe Waters steps up and Nogueira will handle it. Takes it across the line, now sends it all the way down. Dowler will grab this one. And he was going to hurry a pass and now slows it down to Fred Thompson. Thompson watched by Dougherty. Bit of a physical mismatch there, but Dougherty certainly doesn't back away. Now it's Eddie Radwanski going wide around the boards trying to get past Dougherty. Forced to play it back. Here's Valentine. Into the corner. Thompson chesting it down. Back through the middle, and that one went through the box and out. On the rebound, Ristich a shot. That's off the lip of the boards. Thompson knocking it down for Radwanski. That one's tipped. Banks heads it down. Crow will play it through the middle, just getting it to Dougherty. Now the Sockers trying to counterattack. A ball through the middle for John Kerr. Kerr pushing off Ristich. They go to the corner, and Ristich riding Kerr into the boards and then playing it back across the penalty area. Still 1-0 San Diego as another former Socker, Greg Ian, tried to play it up for Mitchell in front. Went by him. Now back to the line. Megson shot blocked. He'll get another crack at it. Banks tried to strip it from him. Megson up high, but Nogueira will knock it down. And now Victor will just drop it down and wait for some changes as David Banks just about gets off the field. Now forced to stay on as the Sockers have it in that midfield zone behind the halfway line. And now Banks will play it back. Both teams changing on the go here as we're in the first period. Still 1-0 on the Dougherty goal. Ball came off the boards. Tough one for UCN to handle as it hit that edge. Now back up the wing. Here's Gabera, one man back. Shot off Woodbury, out of play. This will be Tacoma ball coming back, and they will get it on a corner kick. As Terry Woodbury had his career-high point-scoring streak snapped on Tuesday night. He had gone 14 consecutive games with at least a point. Of course, the Sockers are going to put a little more pressure on him defensively with Ben Collins out. If you joined us late, Collins scheduled to undergo arthroscopic knee surgery tonight in San Diego, and he will be gone for the regular season at least, and the Sockers are hoping it'll be a minor procedure that will allow him to be available for the playoffs. Now the Sockers defensing the corner kick as Ian over the ball for the Stars. Waiting, plays it back to Mitchell. Far post, Gabera reaches out. It went high. Ian with the turnaround shot block. Gabera drive. Nogueira got it at his feet, kicked it free. Now Gabera again in the corner, finally headed back across the line by Paul Wright. Mitchell gets it right back for the Stars. Crook from the line, that deflects. Loose ball in the box. Whitman can't clear it. Mitchell tried to work it far post. Ian was there, but it goes off Crow, out of play. So this will be Stars ball coming back in. 9:44 to go here in the opening period. Now Ian and Megson along the near glass, and they want a timeout. And the Stars will talk things over here early as Keith Weller wants to sort out this dead ball situation. We'll pause with the Sockers leading the Stars 1-0 here at the Tacoma Dome.
Today is a very good day. You've got a new set of wheels and a license to drive. You, my friend, are on a roll. Can your life get better than this? You bet your spandex, because you're going to McDonald's to wheel some delicious deals. Only 59 cents for a regular hamburger, 69-cent cheeseburger, and 99 cents for a chicken fajitas or breakfast burrito. Wow. You ask someone to pinch you. A volunteer. Yes, your life is good. And at these prices, it only gets better at McDonald's today.
I need to sell one of our cars, but what's the fastest way to find a buyer?
The Auto Trader magazine. Thousands of serious buyers read the Auto Trader every week.
I need to find a car, but where's the best place to look?
Every week, the Auto Trader has thousands of bargains and dreams.
I tried to sell my car in the newspaper, but my ad got lost in the classifieds. Where should I go?
Auto Trader magazine, where you'll get a photo and 35 words for 3 weeks, all for just $21. The Auto Trader.
The original photo ad magazine.
Available at your local convenience store.
Back at Tacoma, Sockers leading the Stars 1-0. Well, as the Sockers make their annual march to the playoffs, you can make plans to be there with them. Single game tickets for games 1 and 2 of the semifinal series at the Sports Arena go on sale to the general public Monday morning at 10 at the Sports Arena box office and all Ticketmaster locations. Back to the action here at the Dome, and off the restart, Stars unable to make anything happen. Nagara, the quick throw out to speedy Paul Wright, and he shoots and just goes through the crease after it got by Dowler. Westway trailing, but just behind the play. Great chance for Wright there to break that mini slump of his. 2 games without a goal, without a point. And now Crook with it back for the Stars. So the Sockers doing much better transitionally in this game as they have in the last 2 against Tacoma. Here's Wright again. Mismatch as far as numbers go, 1-on-3, but Paul still penetrating deep. Back through the defense to Woodbury at the line. He's got Golovnia there. Alex will come back into the midfield defensively. And now Golovnia with the ball back to Woodbury. Sir on the far side takes on Crook. Back through the middle. Ladouceur shot hit Dougherty, I believe. Looked like Paul was trying to hip hop out of the way, but it was blocked. Back come the Stars. Here's Megson. Soft pass through for Valentine. The veteran from England controlling it. Back through the middle from Mitchell. Nice no-look ball. Unfortunately, nobody in position for the Stars as Nagara will roll it back ahead for Kevin Crowe. As we mentioned, Tacoma with the best home record in the league, or at least tied for it with the Sockers. Ball back through the box, and Dowler will pick this up ahead of the overlapping Kevin Crowe, who came through. Now Valentine dribbling back out across his line. Stars 14-4 in their building. Same home record as the Sockers. But of course, San Diego with the best road record in the league, 10-7. And they have won a game here this year, and not many teams have, aside from the Stars. Up for Sean Medved now. Nice job to chest it down. Now looks for control. Pushes back to center for Ristich. Stars make a change as Ristich holds it. Now plays it up for Medved. Forced back out again by Crowe. And now Ucian holds it for San Diego. Pass back. Now draws some white. Sends it back to Crowe and over to Ladouceur. Here's Dougherty. Has the game's only goal so far. Lost control as he tried to play it off the boards for John Kerr. On the counterattack, back comes Valentine through the middle. Nice pass for Fred Thompson, but it's blocked by Crowe. Ladouceur will dribble it out across his line. Up by a Valentine, and that'll be a foul. As Jacques Ladouceur picks himself up. Jacques with 30 points on the season. Here's a look at that last situation with Valentine clearly stepping in front and obstructing. Now the restart as Golovnia has it back at the Sockers red line. Banks up the wing, looks for Kerr. Ristich is back, and they'll give the foul the other way against John Kerr Jr. as Nikola Ristich examines his elbow. Look at Ucian on the bench. Meantime, play underway back down at the other end of the field. Greg Ian with the ball. In the corner, Mitchell playing it toward net. Here's Gabera with the loose ball. Trying to play it through for Mitchell, but it's broken up. Now Whitman turns it over. Redwanski back to Gabera. Gabera trying to work give and go, but this time Whitman digs in. Nice defensive play. Now Paul Wright counterattacking with Wes Wade. Wade down the right side, back through the middle. Paul reaches back, and that one's out of play. And we'll get a goal kick for the Tacoma Stars. But first, there's an official timeout on the field. 6:44 left in the first period, with the Sockers ahead of the Stars by a score of 1-0. Want to remind you that you can meet a member of the World Champion Sockers at your local McDonald's. And that is coming up on Super Sockers Sunday, April 5th. Get autographs and photos with a Socker. Enjoy special prices on Sundays and kick the ball around with the players. That's a 1-hour special appearance by the Sockers at your local McDonald's restaurant on Super Soccer Sunday, April 5th. Don't forget to bring your camera along. And there's Ron Newman talking things over briefly with his team, trying to snap a 2-game losing streak. And that sounds like a slump by soccer standards, because they have not lost 3 games in a row since 1990. It was a span of games from October 27th through November 4th of the 90-91 season that the Sockers last lost 3 games in a row. That's a pretty incredible run of consistency. They're on a 2-game losing streak now and trying to avoid repeating a little bit of that history from a season and a half ago. Of course, as we talked with Ron about in the opening, the Sockers had an 11-game winning streak this season. One of the longest in the history of the team and the league. Now the goal kick coming up from the Stars, way down at the other end of the field, as the Sockers' Terry Woodbury, who scored 2 goals against the Stars earlier this season, gets set up defensively down at the other end. Not sure what this is. Paul Wright's shot earlier. It got behind Dowler and just about went in. Westway just getting in there actually a little early, not behind the play. And now the Stars with the ball back in midfield. Radwanski up to the corner for Mitchell. Crow is there and Whitman there to help out. Good double team coverage against one of the most dangerous forwards in the league there, as Crow got help from Whitman. Dale Mitchell with 69 points leading the Stars. Here's Ladouceur. Across for Wes Wade. He'll use the bounce off the boards. And we're going to get a penalty to the Sockers. And Wes Wade, with that weight on the bounce, I think should have come off perhaps. Either way, it's going to be too many men on the field for San Diego, and clearly they had someone come off the long end of the bench early. So a power play coming up for the Stars here as the Sockers make a little mistake on the substitution. Not sure exactly what happened there. Perhaps we'll see it later, but either way, the Stars go on the power play for the first time in the game. Not much discussion going on there. I think Thompson Usean snuck on early. Ron Newman not talking to anybody in particular right now, so it is too many men on the field. That's the call. And Mirko Castillo will come over to serve it for San Diego. So the power play now. 2 minutes for too many men on the field for the Sockers. And it comes at 8:54 here in the first period. Stars with the man advantage now, trailing 1-0. Crook with the ball in for Medved. Banks will clear that away. And now Greg Ian back with it in his own zone. Here's Mitchell back for Ian. Stars right now forced back in the midfield zone. Now Crook gets it out to the point. Shot gets behind Nogueira, but it's wide, and Whitmer will clear it. Tacoma's power play is the worst in the league. 7th out of 7, 29.7%. Here's Crook from the point. Tried to left-foot it in for Gary Heel. He was parked at the left corner of the penalty area, but it's rejected. Sockers penalty killing is 4th best in the league. They kill it off 58% of the time. And lately, they've killed off 16 of their last 24 against. Crow with help from Banks, and they'll clear it back down to the other end again. And so far, the Stars, who have outshot the Sockers in this period, don't have a shot on this power play. 55 seconds left in the man advantage. Mitchell. Ian thought about hurrying the pass. Then Wade backed off. He takes it across the line himself. Ian back with it. A little behind Bill Crook. Wade doing a good job up high on the penalty killing unit along with Whitman. They're forcing that ball up near the red line, and it hasn't been deep in the zone much at all. Now Mitchell gets some room in the corner. Shot off the wall. Medved rebound, and they score. Medved gets the goal. Stars patiently working it around, and finally Mitchell drives it off the wall. Pretty much a set play as he intended to pass it that way. Nogueira got a bit of it, but not enough. Another look from the other side, actually from the end zone. You get a good look here at just how they set this up. Ian to Mitchell on the one touch, and then clearly a pass in for Medved, who got in behind, or actually between Wade and Crow. This is how Victor Nogueira played it. As we isolate on Victor, he has to play that tricky bounce, and then he may in fact have been screened a little bit by Crow. He's got enough of his body in front of it to slow it down, but not enough to keep it out. So Medved will get credit for the power play goal for the Stars, and we're even 1-1. Mitchell will draw the assist as the Stars send it into the San Diego zone and out of play. Eddie Radwanski getting underneath that one. Medved's 10th of the year, his second power play goal this season, and the time of the goal 10:25. So that too many men on the field penalty cost the Sockers their early lead. As you look at Alex Golovnian. Mitchell, by the way, with 30 assists now, and he leads the Stars in goals, assists, and points. And there's Sean Medved from Mitchell at 10:25. Talking to Keith Weller, Stars coach. Medved really coming on as a pro. As we mentioned, his 18th goal of the season. Also has a couple of hat tricks this year. What did we say earlier? 10th goal of the year. That was Medved's 18th. Ball out of play now, and we'll get a restart back in the Wichita or in the Tacoma zone. There's Freddie Thompson, former Baltimore Blast player in his second year here with the Stars. And the Sox set up for the free kick out to the left point side. Referee Brian Hall on the far left side of your screen instructing the Stars defense accordingly. Now the restart. Paul Wright back for Woodbury. Wright, Radwanski over to Golovnia. Out of the corner. Comes free. John Kerr after it. Battling back there with Ristich. Dougherty is shot. That went right along the crossbar. Back across to this side. Woodbury fighting with Medved for it. Back to John Kerr, a chance, but he's cut off right in front of the net by Joey Waters. Or check that, it was Ristich. And now the Sockers get it back on the turnover. Stars almost had too many men on the field. Shot by Paul Wright from beyond the red line. Deflected by John Kerr, but wide. Now Radwanski comes back the other way. Here's Ristich. Long chip pass intended for Gabera. Victor Nogueira goes up high for San Diego, sets it back down for Dougherty as both teams make changes on the run. 3:08 left in the first period. 1-1 tie. Sockers goal by Dougherty 51 seconds in, and then the tying goal moments ago by Medved. Here's Golovnia. Elects to go back to David Banks with it. Banks launches a long pass into the corner. You see a nice job to control it there off the glass. That's where Thompson makes his living, controlling those balls off the boards and glass. Now it's kicked out by Crook. As you look at our live shot from the end zone camera here at the Tacoma Dome. This will be the Sockers' final appearance here of the regular season. Final meeting of 7 between these teams. And the Sockers have won 5 of the prior 6. Here's Usian getting set on this restart. Back out to the line for Crow. Banks draws it back now under some pressure from Fred Thompson. Crow off the side of his foot to the corner. Usian after it there with Joe Waters watching him closely. Back to Banks. Now Crow again as the Sockers are back in the midfield here as Banks looks for a pass, finds Dougherty. One touch over to Ladouceur, trouble controlling it. Thompson and Crook were both there. Good job by Dougherty to keep it alive. Finally it comes back to Dowler in goal. He'll roll it up for Bill Crook. Lead pass by Crook intended for Valentine, again off target. Nogueira rolls it ahead for Ladouceur. Now here's Whitman, receives the pass as you see it up front, gets it to him on the right wing side. Thompson knocks it back for Banks. This will run all the way to midfield, and Banks will control it there for San Diego. One other game in the league tonight. It's one we watch with interest, with the playoff race being what it is. Baltimore and Wichita in the third period tied at 3, and we'll bring you a final score on that out-of-town game as soon as we get it. There's Ron Newman. Of course, he has a great record against the Stars, coaching-wise. 35-18 in his career, and against his former assistant coach, Keith Weller, who's behind the Stars bench. Ron is 12-8. Sockers have had many successes here and have had their one greatest disappointment as a franchise here. The only time the Sockers ever lost a playoff series was right here in this building back in 1987 in the Western Division Finals, when they were eliminated in a 7th game by the Stars. Now here's Whitman for San Diego with Wes Wade. Tied at 1 here as we come down to the final minute and a half of the opening period. Paul Wright out of the corner. Shot, and Wade reaching out. Can't quite bring it in. Banks on the rebound, and Dowler with a save. Played out to midfield. Here's a foot race now, but Paul Wright's going to win this one as Valentine quickly has to face Wright as a defender. Keeps it going, though, into the corner. Nagara knocks it down with his right foot. Banks in his own zone. Will try and bring it out for the Sockers. A minute left in the first period. Here's Paul Wright at center. A lead pass for Wes Wade. Pokes it out to the right side for Whitman, but he was trailing considerably, and the Stars have it back for Tacoma. Here's Greg Ian at center as you see the time remaining in the period. Up to Mitchell. Double teamed in the corner, out to Neil Megson rather. Now here's Radwanski. Ian forced to quickly play it. Now Valentine with Golovnia watching him. Radwanski launches one up shoulder high and picked up by Nagara. Victor will throw long for Wes Wade. Wade after it down the right side. Wade still going after it in the corner. In front. Chance for Dougherty. He'll drive it off the wall. Wade trying to control it for his shot. 15 seconds to go as Radwanski has it in his own zone. Almost gave it away to Wade. Now he does. Here's West. Back to Ladouceur. To Dougherty, and he fans on it. What a chance for the Sockers there. 5 seconds in the period. See if they can get another shot. Woodbury winds up the left foot, and that's blocked, and that'll be the end of the first period. And Paul Dougherty fans on a golden opportunity right in front of the Stars net. We're at the end of a period here at the Tacoma Dome. It's the Sockers 1 and the Stars 1 on the San Diego Cable Sports Network.
Does your radio station give you what you want?
It's got to have an edge.
I want to know what's going on and really feel like I'm a part of it.
Got to keep it in perspective.
But there are those things.
Totally fanning. Just missed it. That'll happen sometimes, even to a guy like Paul Dougherty, who scored the only Sockers goal of that opening period, giving him 34 on the season. There's Paul getting a rest as we get set for the second period. They are late in the fourth period in Wichita. 1 minute left. Baltimore and the Wings tied 4-4. Big game for both teams, obviously. Right now, Baltimore in the playoff picture, holding down the third spot. But Wichita is percentage points out of the playoffs. So it really is a big game. In fact, you take San Diego and Dallas out of the mix because those are both teams in good playoff shape. The other 5 teams in the league can't say that they don't have a critical game the rest of the way down the line, and that includes the Tacoma Stars. As you look at their bench, it's their backup goaltender, Todd Strobeck. And there's Mike Dowler, number 1, as Ron Newman takes his position back on the Sockers bench. Scored his 600th career win here against the Stars back on the 1st of November. That was the Sockers' only win here this year. But they have dominated the winning 5 out of 6 coming into this final regular season meeting. It is possible that these teams could meet in the postseason. In fact, if the playoffs started today, it would be San Diego and Tacoma in the opening round best-of-7 semifinal. But much is to be played and decided before we can say for sure who's going to meet who in the playoffs. We can say that the Sockers will be in the playoffs. They have clinched a spot. They're the only team to have done so up to this point. Back to the action now. Second period underway. Sockers defending the net to our left, attacking left to right. And the Sockers attacking early on here. Draw the foul as Ladouceur is called in midfield. First foul of the half against Jacques. Boy, the shots on goal in that first period. A testament to the fine work by the Sockers defense in Nagara. San Diego outshot 12-6. Now Woodbury is going to get called for a foul right at the edge of the box, or perhaps even inside it. Let's see where they set the ball down. This is another look as Crow is back there. Woodbury has Medved pretty well tied up, and Medved probably took a little bit of a dive there. But Woodbury did have an arm on him. So now the free kick right at the edge of the box as Radwanski stands over it. Gabera driving it into Crow, and this will come back into midfield. So the Sockers defense that dangerous free kick pretty well. Now Medved called for the foul the other way as he and Woodbury in a good battle there along the boards, and Sean Medved gets called for the foul, and it'll be San Diego ball coming back as Woodbury gets set to put it into play. Nagara over to Crow. And now a turnover as Radwanski will get it, trying to work it back for Gabera. That went off Kevin. Now back to Radwanski down the right side. Led himself a little too much with the pass. Ladouceur intercepts, turns it right back over. Here's Gabera to Thompson. He'll shoot it off the post and back into the hands of Nogueira from Tim Whitman. Some bad defense by the Sockers in their own zone, turning that ball over. Ladouceur hurried his pass, didn't have to. And luckily for the Sockers, Fred Thompson shot wide. Now Medved back the other way for the Stars. 1-1 our score. We're early in the second period, live at the Tacoma Dome. After tonight, the Sockers with 4 games left in their regular season. Medved trying to control it up at the line, plays it back for Crook. Now Nicky Ristich. Hyan gives and goes. Crook trying to send it up high, and that's not far enough for Medved as Kevin Crow controls. Crow waiting for the Sockers to complete a line change, plays it across for David Banks. This is Whitman. Back for Banks again. Now Golovny on the change, pressured by Joe Waters, plays it to Nogueira. Victor forced wide to the right, off the head of Whitman. Now Mirko Castillo, first time on tonight, controlling it for San Diego with his back toward the net. Now Paul Wright on the pass from Golovny. Into the corner, he's watched there by Crook. Back to Golovny. Now Castillo, one touch to Banks. Into the corner, Whitman. Back for Banks. Sockers moving it around well here, keeping it away from the Stars. Not getting any good penetration, but still maintaining possession. Now Paul Wright, pulled down by Crook, draws the foul. Now we'll get a free kick for San Diego just across the line. Here's another look as Dougherty, watched by Crook and kind of leaning into him, and Paul stumbling and falling, and now the free kick as Paul Wright lines up behind the ball. There's the whistle. The shot right into that wall, and it'll come back out to Banks on the rebound. 12:29 left here in the second period. All tied at 1. Sockers trying to snap a mini slump, a big one for them, a 2-game losing streak. But over the last 10 games, as we talked in the pregame show with Rod Newman about, the Sockers have not been their consistent selves. 5 wins, 5 losses in their last 10. 500 ball for a team that's right now, as we have a ball out, 13 games over 500. Now, as you can see from some of our shots, far from a full house here at the Tacoma Dome. It looks to be above their average, however. The Stars have been the one team in the league this season not to enjoy the upswing in attendance that most other clubs have. We pause with 12:04 left here in the second period, all tied at 1.
Get the Leventhal look.
Get the look. Get your contacts and glasses in just 1 hour from Dr. Leventhal's Vision Care Centers. We're featuring our...
In the second period, this Tuesday night when the Sockers are home to Cleveland is your final chance to vote for your favorite soccer in the U.S. Air Fans Favorite Player balloting. You'll find a ballot in the game program. And the team will announce the U.S. Air Fans Favorite Player on Fan Appreciation Night, April 4th. That fan and one player will receive 2 round-trip tickets subject to restriction from U.S. Air. Again, your last chance to vote Tuesday night when the Sockers are home to the Cleveland Crunch. Back to the live action here as Mike Dowler has some trouble along the glass. It comes back out to Dougherty. Thompson kicks it just away from him. Now Terry Woodbury at center. Watching him is Valentine backing toward the red line. Woodbury gets it to that dangerous left foot of his, and you see the quick release. Waters blocking at that time all the way back to Nogueira just across the Sox line. Woodbury right now may have the best left foot in the league. As Crook gets it low for Tacoma, trying to contain the Sockers, who have 3 men up there. Ladouceur, Yusian, and Dougherty. And now here's Waters. Across to this side for Valentine. Back for Neil Megson. He'll wind it up, push it to Valentine. A good switch there by the Stars. Waters into the corner for Thompson. And Nogueira with the save as Golovny got fooled on that pick play up at the red line. And he had to hurry back there to help out Nogueira. But a good stop for Victor, who's been busy in this first half. as has the San Diego defense from the standpoint of blocks. Kind of hard to figure statistically here in Tacoma how they keep the shots on goal. They're saying there were 12 in the first period. 3 were blocked and 2 were saved, and 1 was scored on. What happened to the other 6? That's got to be a mistake. 12 shots on goal. At center, pulled down is Paul Wright by Megson, or by Crook rather, and we'll get a free kick for San Diego. There's Guevara. Scored a goal for the Sockers earlier this season, then was released, picked up by the Stars. Dougherty with a shot from long distance. Now Paul again knocking it back for Crow. Here's Dougherty. And Crow will control it. Got clarification now. Nogueira made 5 saves and the Sockers blocked 6. So that adds up. 5, 6 plus 1 is 12. Advanced calculus here in the press box at the Dome. Here's Guevara. Trying to untie it. We're at 1-1 as Crow tries to clear it. Kicked it into his own heel. Now gets it back to Ristich in midfield. Now Guevara left side. Pushed by Castillo. He takes the ball away. Now Castillo with Kerr coming forward. 9:25 to go in the second period. Good job by Kerr. Castillo got the ball and then turned it over. Sockers get it back. Here's Ladouceur again out of the middle. Dipping shot just wide. And Valentine will get it on the rebound. Still 1-1. Ian playing it up for Valentine. Valentine, former Canadian national team player. As Canada begins soon its qualification process for the 1994 World Cup. Trying to qualify in the CONCACAF region. Of course, the U.S. doesn't have to qualify because the World Cup will be here. Speaking of that, Monday in New York, the cities that will host the World Cup games will be announced by FIFA at a news conference in Manhattan at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel. We have a foul up in the midfield zone. Coming down with an elbow on the play was Alex Golovnia, and it's a restart for the Stars. Here's Eddie Radwanski. He'll hold it as Nicky Ristich goes off. Radwanski now playing it up the left side. Medved backing into Golovnia, trying to control it. He'll give it away to Whitman. Now Ladouceur. He couldn't control it. Here's Medved again. The local Olympia, Washington product, ridden off the ball by Wade. Fans wanted a foul. The play goes on as Nogueira handles it for San Diego. 8:10 to go, second period. Here's Whitman. Sockers content to slow it down from time to time. Now get it up to Usian. Back for Golovnia. He'll overlap from the back. Now Golovnia back to Usian. Over to Paul Wright. Back to Thompson. He'll wind it up, and Dowler dives to his left, makes the save, and the rebound cleared by Medved. Nogueira out to the line for San Diego as the Stars make some quick changes. Here's quick Thompson. You see it up the right side. He'll dump it in front, looking for Paul Wright. Radwanski knocked that away. Here's Megson laying it off to the right side. Joe Waters there. Hits the square pass back for Megson as the Stars continue to make changes here on their line. Back to Ian. He'll send it deep. Looks for Guevara in the corner. Gets by Jimmy, but it's controlled by Woodbury for San Diego. 1-1 our score. Hope you're enjoying our live coverage here on the San Diego Cable Sports Network. One more regular season to come here on the network, and then we'll be back come playoff time. Sockers with only 2 more road games left after this. They'll be in Wichita next weekend, and then we'll come to you on the final road game of the year from St. Louis, and that's on April 3rd. Here's Paul Wright heading it back toward Nogueira. Forced outside the box. Now playing it up for Paul Wright. Ridden into the boards by Megson. No foul. Play goes on. Here's Megson to Valentine. Through the middle. Woodbury knocks it down enough for Nogueira to pick up. Greg Ian was in the box looking for that feed. Now Wright again. Loses it along the boards. Here's Mitchell toward net. Gets by Nogueira as Mitchell takes a tumble in the box. A chance for Ian, and he'll head it out of play. Great ball out of the corner by Guevara, but Greg Ian with the miss. And we get an official timeout on the field with 6:22 remaining here in the second period. Well, as mentioned, with our score tied 1-1, we have one more TV game coming up here in the regular season, and you can follow all the action right here on Friday, April 3rd. We'll be at the St. Louis Arena as the Sockers try to weather the storm. I do not write this stuff. From a couple of moments ago, nice save by Mike Dowler on the isolation on the shot from outside by Usean, and Mike just getting enough space from Tim Whitman to see that ball and then diving over to make the save. Dowler, clearly one of the top goalkeepers in the league over the last 11 years. And they have gone to overtime in Wichita, tied 4-4 in that big game for both teams. And we'll watch with interest and get you a final just as soon as it is final. The Stars will play in Wichita tomorrow night. The Tacoma players and coaching staff will fly immediately after this game on a red-eye to Dallas and then connect to Wichita for that game tomorrow. And it should be interesting as you look at Keith Weller on the Stars bench, because two players who are suspended tonight will play in that game tomorrow. One is Tacoma defender Ralph Black, and another one is Wichita's Brad Smith. They had a fight which may go down as one of the best, if that's what you want to call it, in recent MSL history here on Sunday. And that will be the subject of our halftime tonight with Ralph Black. Don't miss this, because you're going to see a mix-up between Smith and Ralph Black that is one of the great haymakers of MSL all time. That's coming up at the half. Here is David Banks now for San Diego with under 6 minutes to go, second period. Banks getting by the defense, now still after it in the corner. Pressured by Ristich along the boards, tried to work it to Ladouceur. Still up for grabs, and finally Cook will control it, and now he scissor kicks it out of play. Well, that incident on Sunday here at the Dome, a game in which the Stars incidentally beat Wichita 11-6, resulted in one-game suspensions to Black and Smith. Black was fined $750 today by the league. Smith was fined $350, and Wichita goalkeeper Chris Pete, who was involved, was fined $150 as well. And tomorrow night they meet again, so it should be interesting in Wichita, but we'll talk more about that. Here's Crook meantime into the San Diego zone. Crow is back defensively, and Noguera will pick it up on the roll, quickly throwing it ahead for Ladouceur. Just over 5 minutes to go, second period, tied at 1. All the scoring coming in the opening period. Goals by Dougherty and Medved. Here is Paul Dougherty, 1 on 4, and he waits for some help. Back to Usean, to Crow. The header down low, and Dowler just kept that out. Kevin played that perfectly. It's an easy save for Dowler if Kevin goes up high, but Kevin heads it to the carpet. Good play by the veteran defender, almost put the Sockers in the lead. Now Ristich comes back the other way. Banks back as Ristich plays it for the post-up man Thompson. Gabera cuts across, takes it away. Jim fakes the shot, now soft pass in for Thompson. Good defense there by Golovny, and he also gets the foul as he's brought down by Thompson, and a free kick for San Diego. As Thompson picks up the foul. And play back in the midfield now with the Sockers in possession. Paul Wright. Ahead to Castillo. Miscontrols with the left foot, but knocks it back down to Paul. Now Golovny scooping it ahead. Whitman up there with Castillo. Mirko trying to elude the tackle of Joe Waters, does a good job to do that. Then it hits the referee, Brian Hall. Castillo trying to work it back against the defense again. It comes back to Woodbury. Here's Golovny, down to 4:08 to go in the first half. Ahead for Whitman. Radwanski wins that in the air. Now a race for its center, and Paul Wright will knock it to Noguera. This does not bode well for Tacoma, this kind of game. They tend this year to score early, and then as the game wears on, score less often. When they win, they usually outscore their opponents early on in the game. That hasn't been the case tonight. Here's Paul Wright. He scores! Castillo on a nice give and go feed to Paul Wright, and he capitalizes with the roof shot, and the Sockers lead, and Paul Wright's mini slump ends, and he regains the goal scoring lead with his 45th. Here's another look as Usean, or Wright rather, gives to Castillo and then gives it right back. Nice feed out of the corner by Mirko Castillo. As you look at the final moments of that. Here's another look from behind Paul Wright. Castillo just out of the frame. Back to Wright. You don't see him release there. That's not the best shot there, but we won't be too hard on the cameraman. Here's Radwanski now as the Sockers have the lead for the second time in the game, 2-1. We do have pretty much every angle covered here today. I'm not sure how many game cameras there are, but with this game also on Sports Channel, we have some of our best coverage of the season with lots of equipment to bring all the pictures to you. Here's Ristich back the other way. Mitchell in front. Ian turns. Good block by Woodbury in the box. Back to Ian again. Now Radwanski as the Stars try and get it even again. Mitchell works his way free, but then gets tied up by Crow. Ladouceur to Woodbury. Terry will play this off the boards. Turned it over. Radwanski sends it back in off John Kerr and into the hands of Nogueira. Wright's 45th goal. Castillo picks up the assist at 11-17. And Mirko Castillo, coming off a great performance, sets up Paul Wright. Castillo coming off that Auto Trader Reserve Championship in Atlanta last weekend where he was MVP, and he gets himself on the board here as he gets a look from Ron Newman for one of the first times in a while. Here's Usean back through the middle for David Banks. Banks then trips Medved trying to get to that ball, and that'll be a foul, San Diego. So Paul Wright again temporarily tied for the league goal scoring lead as Medved comes off with Bronco Segota, both with 45 goals. 2-1 Sockers as we're a little over 2 minutes left here in this first half. Medved in the corner, watched by Crow. Bumps it off the wall, back for Freddie Thompson. Now Crook for Megson, played it poorly, gave it away. Here's Paul Wright. Got a lucky bounce off of Crook. He'll hold up in midfield, wait for help. You see a nice pass to Banks, and his shot out of play. Good read by Thompson, Usean, and Dowler fortunate there that Banks miskicked that one. As you see Castillo there, the MVP of the Auto Traders Amateur Championship team. Last weekend in Atlanta with the Auto Trader Reserves, won 7 games in a row to take that amateur championship for the 3rd time. They were allowed a certain number of professionals each team. That's why Mirko could play in an amateur championship. But talking to head coach Eric Geyer, this was the best tournament yet with great competition from teams all around the country and Mexico. Bill Crook kicking one out of play as he tried to send it deep, and that'll come back San Diego ball with 1:42 left here in the second period. There's a look at Victor Nogueira, who got a rare break last weekend when he only started the game against Cleveland, played the first 7 or 8 minutes, and then gave way to Curtis McAllister, who got his professional debut. Sockers went on to lose that game, but McAllister did well, and Nogueira appreciated the rest. Victor will almost certainly be in goal the rest of the way, regular season and playoffs. Here's Usean now as the Sockers lead at 2-1 late here in this first half. Valentine gets it back for the Stars. Banks giving him a little bit of trouble. Now Valentine reaching back into the corner. Crook chested it down, but then lost his balance. Sockers will try and counterattack here late in this first half. Usean tripped up by Megson in midfield as play goes on. And the Stars will get one more crack at it at least. Radwanski looking up for Mitchell, but Columbia read that perfectly. There's the time remaining in the period. Here's Usean with Whitman low. Usean winding up, and that one's high, but too high off the glass. Ladouceur trying to set the table for Golovnia. Jacques banks it off the boards. Nobody at home up front as Thompson will clear it beyond center. Banks back there with 36 to go in the period. Mitchell pressuring Golovnia up to Paul Wright. Back for Golovnia. Good ball movement by the Sockers in their own half of midfield. Now Usean. And he'll play it back for Banks, but too far for David. And he'll just take his time waiting for Nogueira to get to this one. Banks now from in his own zone up for Castillo. Mirko watched by Megson trying to get around him. Castillo still holding it back for Banks. 5 seconds to go, and the Sockers, Whitman just missed a chance to put the Sockers up by 2. Back to Castillo, and he'll shoot it off the crossbar at the buzzer. Boy, the Sockers did a great job to work it for a quality shot just before time ran out, but Whitman's shot knocked down by Dowler, and they will go to the dressing room with a 1-goal lead. At the half, It's San Diego 2, the Tacoma Stars 1, and you're watching the majors, the San Diego Sockers and the Tacoma Stars. Randy Hahn back in Tacoma, joined by a familiar face to Sockers fans from a couple of seasons gone by, a former Socker now with the Stars, Ralph Black, who is obviously out of uniform tonight, and I'm sure, Ralph, you'd much rather be playing your former teammates.
Oh, there's no question, Randy. Very disappointed that I got the decision yesterday saying that I had to sit out a game, and it was unfortunate it came against San Diego.
Ralph is suspended tonight for one game, along with Wichita's Brad Smith, as a result of what happened here at the Tacoma Dome on Sunday. And without going much further, Ralph, why don't we watch what happened and you kind of describe what happened? It really started back in the second period with this foul.
Yeah, I went for the ball. My eyes were straight on the ball, and Brad Smith, I did see him coming, but I didn't see his foot stuck in the air. And he followed through with it and hit me in the midsection, and I was in a little bit of pain here. You'll see it probably in a little bit of slow motion.
Now, he did pick up a 2-minute penalty for that, but, boy, when you look at it again on the slow motion, this was, and of course Brad Smith's not here to defend himself, this is almost a red cardable offense by the looks of it.
Well, I know if that was me, I know where I'd have been ended up, so, but, that's part of the game, and it kind of continued on.
So now we're in the fourth quarter. The game's late. You guys have already won this thing, and everything goes crazy.
Yeah, Brad Smith hit me in the back, and that's me just punching him there. Now I'm kind of watching him at the time being because he's going a little bit crazier than I was. And now I'm dealing with Chris Pete, and he kind of puts me into Brad Smith, and I was just trying to protect myself. And there you can see Brad Smith throwing a kick that landed. I wasn't happy about it, so I came back for a little bit more. And you see what happened. And no, I'm not happy about that, Randy. It's just sad that it ended that way.
Going back over the rest of the season, was this a building up animosity thing with Brad Smith, or was just something that resulted out of what happened in the second period there and kind of built?
Yeah, I think it more built because there's a couple of more incidents involved in the game where he was trying to be an aggressor in that, and it just kind of built to that. And I took what happened in stride, and it kind of went that way, and I didn't expect it to go that way, but it ended up being so. So I just tried to protect myself, and that's all I was doing.
In all honesty, we can't portray you or Brad Smith exactly as choir boys. You're tied for third in the league in penalty minutes, so you have a bit of a reputation for at least being physical players. Do you think maybe some of your physical play of the past and your style cost you in the way the sentencing was handed out?
Well, no, not really, just for the fact that, there was more blows probably being thrown in that scenario than normal in other ones that I've ever seen. Yeah, maybe a little bit in terms, these refs have been here a while, and I've been here a while and so we grow upon each other, and obviously they always get the better end of the stick. So, I kind of got the shot. I mean, seven minutes in penalties in that game, It's a little bit disappointing, but, I'll take it. And as long as I don't get another one, because I'm looking at another fine, Randy.
Indeed, and incidentally, the Stars play in Wichita tomorrow night, so Ralph and Brad Smith will be reunited. Let's leave that topic, Ralph, and talk about the Tacoma Stars. One of the most impressive teams in the league at home in this building, the team with the worst road record. What have you got to do to get yourselves in the playoffs here, aside from the obvious, winning some games?
Yeah, well, that's the number one goal that we got. I think, in our building, I think we are a very good team in our own building, but we're seeming to be a little bit more difficult on the road. And for what reasons why, Randy, I don't know, because if I knew, we'd all be putting the finger on it. We're always good at home and bad on the road. That don't bring a lot of success, and right now we're scraping for the playoffs right now. And part of the reason why is because we can't win it on the road, and it's disappointing.
Final question. Obviously, you've been with the Sockers through championships. You've seen them win championships from the other side of the field. Do you clearly see them as the team to beat once again this year in the playoffs?
Oh, there's no question about it. Obviously, the San Diego people have seen what we've done down there. We couldn't couldn't with them down there. I think we've done a little bit better in our home floor, but that's not what it's going to take to go through to the final. And hopefully, if we do face them, we'll give it our best shot, and who knows what'll happen, Randy.
On back up here in the press box at the Tacoma Dome as these teams meet for the final time in the regular season this year, as the Stars, of course, are battling to get into the playoffs, and who knows, maybe play San Diego in the playoffs in a couple of weeks. As we usually do at this time, let's get caught up on some of the statistical categories of importance in the MSL as we near the end of the regular season, beginning with the scoring leaders in the league. And this does, of course, not include tonight's playing action. Zorn Karish, the former Socker with Cleveland, leading scoring with 34 goals. and leading all players with 50 assists for 84 points. Paul Wright in the mix. He is back there a bit. He really doesn't have a shot at winning the scoring title with 67 points. But as you look at the goal scoring leaders, you will see that Paul Wright, in fact, does have a very good chance to beat his former teammate, Bronco Segota. We update that now, of course, with the Paul Wright goal in the first half. He now has 45. And Segota idle tonight, as the Storm are, with 45 goals as well. So they're dead even. Really, Preki and Dale Mitchell also in the running as we head down the final stretch of the regular season. Two of the assist leaders now, and this is really no contest. Well, we'll temper that somewhat. Borja in striking distance, but Karic has really dominated that category in the league. We don't know if Borja had any assists tonight for the Wichita Wings. Then we move on to the block leaders in the MSL, and this is dominated by a team in particular, at least after the first spot. The leading blocker in the league is Ian Fraser of the Baltimore Blast, but look at Dallas with two players in the top three, Wes McLeod and Mike Powers, with 72 and 68 respectively. Kevin Crow hanging in there, fourth overall. You can say blocks mean a lot, or maybe they don't. I think Crow clearly is still the best defender in the league, even though he doesn't lead the MSL in blocks. Moving on to a category which we just talked about, penalty minutes. And there you see the two players we just talked about, Brad Smith and Ralph Black, tied for third with 23 minutes each. Cleveland's Greg Willen leading the way with 28 penalty minutes. Paul Dougherty hanging in there right now in fifth place with 20 minutes. And the goalkeepers, Victor Noguera still on top. Look at that tremendous one-loss record and the goals against average. Far and above, better than anyone in the league. Joe Papaleo of Dallas having a great year. Second, followed by Baltimore's Chris Vaccaro, Chris Pete of Wichita, and the gentleman down at the other end here this evening, Mike Dowler of the Tacoma Stars. So there you're all caught up on the categories of importance. The highlights of importance coming up. It's 2-1. Sockers leading the Stars, and it came at the 51-second mark off that goal by Paul Dougherty. The setup from Thompson Usean on the corner kick. Dougherty's 34th, and San Diego had a 1-0 lead. But the Stars came back on the power play. Dale Mitchell with the wall pass to Sean Medved, just putting it off the underside of Victor Noguera's right arm. Medved's 18th, and we were even at 1. But then Mirko Castillo on a great pass through by Paul Wright, or from Paul Wright, and plays it back to Paul, who roofs it past Mike Dowler. Wright's league-leading 45th goal. That came at 11:17 from Castillo, who gets the assist. And the game here back on February 28th. Tim Whitman tonight playing in his 400th career game. Jacques Ladouceur, his 300th game as a Socker, back on February 4th in Wichita. Thompson Usean this year collected his 200th assist at Dallas earlier this month, in fact. Kevin Crow on the brink of a milestone. He needs only 2 more assists for 100 in his illustrious Major Soccer League career. Well, while we await the start of the second half here, we'd like to congratulate once again the Auto Trader Reserve team on their MITRE National Amateur Indoor Championship win last weekend in Atlanta under the direction of head coach Eric Geyer and team sponsor and manager Dave Altamar. The Auto Traders posted a perfect 7-0 record en route to their third. More rest now as they get set to head to the playoffs for the 11th straight year. Back underway now, and play in midfield. We're in the third period, and a collision right near the center line between Paul Wright and Eddie Redwanski. And the foul went against Redwanski, and he is still not up. There's the former Dallas sidekick picking himself up. Redwanski, by the way, we didn't see it in the penalty minutes, but he leads the league in fouls. Or his second, I should say, in fouls, with 73 going into this game, second only to Ted Eck. There's a final now from Wichita, and the Wings have defeated Baltimore in overtime, 5-4. Dale Irvine with the game-winning goal in OT. So Wichita, with that win, improves to 16 and 18, just percentage points out of that last available playoff spot held by these Tacoma Stars. And should the Stars lose, that would put Wichita statistically in the playoffs, but just by percentage points. And then the Stars and Wings play tomorrow. It's going to go down, believe me, to the final at least game or 2 of the season. Here's Carl Valentine as the Stars now attack left to right. Shot, and Noguera will handle it. Victor with a strong first half, shutting down Tacoma and allowing them just 1 goal. Stars right now the second lowest scoring team in the league, second only to Baltimore. Woodbury is shot, and Dowler will knock that down and save the rebound. Now ahead on the rollout, gets it to center for Greg Ian. Ian the lead ball to Medved. Medved knocks it back to the left point. Back there is Ristich. He's watched by Kerr. Now Castillo gets it free out to John Kerr. He'll have to make a parallel run. Now takes it down the left side. Kerr with good speed. The left foot shot trickles off the fingers of Dowler. Castillo swinging at it. And the foul will be against San Diego. And an injured player inside the Stars box, Sean Medved. Here's another look. Off the fingertips of Dowler. And in comes Castillo as Medved clears it. Mirko clearly late there with the kick into Sean Medved. Not a whole lot unlike that foul that started the whole Brad Smith-Ralph Black incident. Although Smith's kick seemed to me to be a lot more vicious than that one. Of course, we don't want to crucify Brad Smith necessarily. He's not here to defend himself as Ralph was, but it seemed that the Smith foul early certainly had a lot to do with what happened later. Here's Ladouceur now to center for San Diego. 13:08 left here in the third period. 2-1 Sockers lead as Banks unloads, and this will go off Mason out of play. There's a look at Sean Medved, as we said, a local product from nearby Olympia, Washington. And he's starting to become a regular here in Wichita, and that guy is going to be a regular in this league for a while. Paul Wright breaking his 2-game goalless or scoreless streak with that first half goal. Paul has 7 goals now, or had 7 goals in a game against the Stars earlier this season. He continues to tear up the wing. 6 goals in that game, and another one here today as Banks controls for San Diego. Lost it as it comes back to Golovnia. He'll chip it to the corner for Whitman. Off the boards, held by Guevara, pulled down, no foul. Golovnia will keep it alive. Back to Banks. Now here's Ladouceur. Puts a move on Crook and gives it away. Ladouceur had Crook at his mercy there and just turned the ball over. And Banks now will roll it back to Mike Dowler. Paul Wright has had so much success against Tacoma. Interestingly, though, he was shut out by them back on the 28th of February to end a 17-game point and 11-game goal streak. He was on a real roll until the Stars shut him down, but it was one of the rare times they've been able to do that. High ball at center. Whitman heads it forward for Usean, and we get a dangerous play against Bill Crook as Whitman's a little slow to get up. That's the first personal foul in the half against Crook. Now on the restart, Usean to Golovnia, and this will come from Alex all the way back into the soccer zone. A slow start to this first half, or second half, as Whitman tries to flick it on for Paul Wright. Back for Valentine. 11:45 to go here, third period. 2-1 San Diego leading. Here's Greg Ian, watched by Banks. Now to Valentine. He'll draw it back through to the middle. Across for Ristich. Plays it behind Usean along the boards to Medved. Usean stepping in front, and the Stars get the foul called against him. No, they call it the other way against Medved. Now Paul Wright tried to send Whitman through. Greg Ian is back defensively. Whitman gave him a little shove, but the Stars have the ball in midfield. Castillo and Medved battle, and Castillo with the foul. "17 shorthanded goals, the all-time MSL leader, Tim Whitman. Sockers do not have a shorthanded goal this year, however, as Castillo brings it to center. Here's Mirko. Crossing the line, plays it to the right for Golovnia. Into the corner, Dougherty hammers it at net. Dowler stopped it. Now Paul Wright trying for a rebound, but that's controlled. Now the throw out to Valentine at center. Here's Gary Heel. All alone left side shot. He scores! Gary Heel with a great goal to tie this up. He's been hurting with an injury, but he didn't look sick there. The left footer off the underside of the crossbar, handcuffing Victor Noguera to tie the game. Heel playing on a sprained knee. You can see it's wrapped, but it's his right knee, and he left-footed this one beautifully to to beat Victor Nogueira. And we have a timeout on the field as we get one more look at it. Victor kind of down on his knees as that rising shot beats him to tie the game. And we're all even at 2-2. And we will pause and be right back on the San Diego Cable Sports Network. Dougherty, who has one of the 2 San Diego goals, playing it into the Stars zone. Dowler kicks it right back out and into the seats. That's Thompson you see in for San Diego. Coming off a pretty good game the other night. If you saw our opening, you saw Thompson score a goal. He had 2 along with an assist against his former team, the Storm. He has points in 17 of the last 19 coming into this game, and he got an assist on the early goal by Dougherty. Here he is again with the heel pass, and Dougherty will left foot this one into the crowd. And a goal kick coming up for Tacoma as this one comes back out of the seats. Want to remind you the Sockers are back home at the Sports Arena Tuesday night, 7:35 against Cleveland, the only team in the league this year with a winning record against the Sockers. Could it be a preview of the championship? Well, could be. Anyway, if you want to see it, there's tickets available at the Sports Arena box office, all Ticketmaster locations, or just give the Sockers a call at 224-GOAL. Here's Eddie Radwanski now for the Stars. We're all even at 2-2 with 10:35 to go, third period. Mitchell watched by Woodbury. The back heel in the San Diego zone to Freddie Thompson. Gets it clear to the red line. Shot from there, blocked in front. Woodbury got his body in front of it. Now Ladouceur, a ball out to Wes Wade. Radwanski gets back for Tacoma. Wade pinned along the boards. West trying to play it through for Ladouceur. Jacques overran it. West wins it back. And plays it to an open spot where Ristich gets it for Tacoma. Here's Thompson. Mitchell ridden off the pass by Woodbury. Comes to Gabera. Gabera saw Mitchell making a break for the net, but then Dale stopped. Pass went through to Woodbury, who was back on defense. And now Dougherty for San Diego as both teams make changes. Woodbury has a look, plays it up the wing for Crow. Back to Dougherty. Past Gabera on to Kevin Crow on the right wing now. Soft ball into the corner. You see him back for Dougherty. Trying to unload from that side. Didn't get all of it. Comes back out to the red line. Sockers try to control it. Here's Paul Wright. Back through the middle. Chance for Dougherty. Scores! What a play by Paul Wright to get that through for Dougherty at the front of the box. And that time Paul Dougherty didn't miss. He buries it behind Dowler, and the Sockers have back their lead. So Dougherty gets his second of the night. Just good work by Paul Wright to pick that one out of the air, and the presence of mind to know that Dougherty was out on that wing. Couldn't have been a more perfect ball by Wright, and Dougherty seizing the opportunity. There's the little flick by Wright. That caught Ristich standing still, and Dougherty just gets to it ahead of Radwanski and buries it past Mike Dowler. Just picked the inside of that post. That's a nice goal by Dougherty, and it gives the Sockers the 3-2 lead. Paul Wright will get the assist to go along with his goal back in the second period. Time of the goal, 5:29 for Dougherty. It's his 35th, and there's the man who set it up, Paul Wright. So Paul now with 2 points tonight. Listen to his stats against Tacoma this season. 15 goals and 2 assists for 17 points. That's a season for a lot of guys. Here's Valentine through the crease and back out again. He saw Medved. Now Wade starts the play at the far boards and got it out to John Kerr, but advantage would have been the better call for the Sockers there rather than the foul. There's the scoring play. Dougherty from right at 5:29. Now Crook back to Valentine at center. And David Banks had a handful of Carl's jersey, and they call the foul behind the play. Kelly Mock from La Jolla, one of the 2 referees tonight, and he whistled that one down as Mason will start out from the red line. Long ball off the boards. Makes gets it to Medved, and then Medved pushing off Columbia. Now they're going to call a handball against Medved. The Sockers will start from in their own zone now as you look at Tim Whitman with that lovely haircut of his. Who does that for you, Tim? Or do you just do it with your blender? That looks like frappe. Or is it whip? Here's Whitman don't think I'll hear about that comment? Absolutely, from Tim. Nogueira with the left footer up for Castillo. Not far enough as Crook wins it out to Medved, who's been a tireless worker for Tacoma tonight. He's tied up by Whitman, and that's a foul. Now Crook to Gabera. Jim to Medved. Back the other way for Crook. Nice job. Gets it left foot, and Nogueira, big save. Save of the game so far, as Crook had Nogueira all alone, and Victor swatting it down. Well, that's about as quality a save as you'll see in the league, as the league's #1 goalkeeper, Victor Nogueira, beats Bill Crook. Crook had an open lane, and Nogueira just knocks this down with his left arm, just swats it away. He may have gone down a little early on the heel goal, but he held his ground right there. And Nogueira keeps the Sockers in front as Crook gets a rare opportunity deep. Bill Crook's numbers are way down this year. He scored 45 points last season, including 26 goals. Right now, Crook with only 5 goals this year and 9 points. He has been hurt as well, though. Now Megson is going to argue this call along the boards. He gets called for the foul. And San Diego will restart along the boards. Megson came in with the high right foot to knock that ball down, and that's what the foul was about. Here's Terry Woodbury now for San Diego. Sockers lead 3-2. 8:10 left to go, third period. Ladouceur. Now Crow will play it back to Nogueira as the Sockers content to run off whatever bit of the clock they can with the lead, but still coming forward as you see Woodbury tried to play it back post for Dougherty, but that was cut off by Radwanski. Now here's Eddie Radwanski. Challenged on the boards by Ladouceur. Jacques trying to work it through for Dougherty. And this will come free to Greg Ian. He runs into Woodbury. Now Radwanski loses it, and the Sockers get it back. Here's Paul Dougherty for Ladouceur left side. Jacques holding it on the point. The drop pass. Here's Crow. He'll look in front and swiped away by Ristic. Nice setup by Ladouceur there, but Crow didn't make the best of it. A little hesitant on the pass, as Tacoma did get some people back defensively in front of Dowler. Now Dougherty takes a look back, but Gabera was there to steal. Now Paul Wright gets it back. Paul winding up left side. Gets it to Usian. Now Crow into Dougherty. Chips it far post. Nobody home. Here's Paul Wright swiping at it. Wide. Off the boards it comes. Ristic will dribble out of his own zone. Nice job to get away from Usian. Then around Paul Wright. Ristic to Gabera. Jim Gabera at the line. Trying to move by Woodbury. Usian came from behind. Took it away. Now here's Paul Wright. One man back. Wright trying to dribble by Ian and doesn't get to it. Now the Stars trying to counterattack, but Ristic played a poor ball up for Mitchell. And the Sockers have it again. 6.5 to go, third period. It's a 1-goal game as Banks gets it back to Tim Whitman. To the line. Whitman goes around Ristic. Shot, score! What a burn job on Nikola Ristic by Tim Whitman. You can't play Whitman that way and expect to win many games, and Ristic just found out how quick Tim Whitman is, and the Sockers have their biggest lead of the game. Whitman explodes by the defender. Watch it again. Whitman here looking like he may be looking for a lane, and the quick cut, and he blows by Ristic. Left foots it in low, and the Sockers with a 4-2 lead. By this point, Ristic is already totally out of it. And Dowler has to guard that short side, but he left a wide open far post. And Nikola Ristic will watch that highlight and grimace. 4-2 San Diego. And that's the Sockers' biggest lead of the game. Well, going into tonight's game, the Sockers had raised $5,475 for Ronald McDonald's Children's Charities, and they add another $25. Each time the Sockers score, they donate $25 to a special Ronald McDonald's Fund for Soccer Camp Scholarships for underprivileged children. When the Sockers score, they score for RMCC. We got 4 goals tonight. That's $100 in the kitty for the Ronald McDonald's Children's Charities. The official scoring play, Whitman's 22nd from Banks at 8:42. And there's Tim Whitman. That was Tim's 22nd goal of the year as he continues to post up good numbers for the San Diego Sockers in his first year out of a Baltimore uniform. A Baltimore resident and played all his career with the Blast until this season. So it's 4-2 Sockers, and they have as comfortable a lead as you're going to get in this building. 2 goals. Wes Wade flicking it back, but Dowler will collect this. Now to Thompson. Boy, I tell you, Nicky Ristich will never play Tim Whitman that way again. He just got too close to him and played the angle poorly toward his goal. He was last man back, and Whitman saw an opening, and did he ever exploit it? Nogueira now stands on it back in the San Diego zone to our right. 5:33 left in the third period. Sockers have to hope they can maintain the lead going to the fourth period, where they, over the last 2 years, have been virtually unbeatable when they've led. Here's Banks. Nice ball from Nogueira. David down the right side. Ladouceur shot, and that's blocked by Crook. Jacques reached back. Didn't get enough on that, but Crook still with a nice block. Cleared back to center. Valentine goes over top. Ladouceur. Play goes on. Now Woodbury knocks it down for Jacques. To Woodbury right in front of the Stars bench. In comes Mitchell. Columbia trying to keep it for San Diego. Gets the good bounce back for Tim Whitman. So after the heel goal tied it to start the period, Sockers come back with 2 unanswered. Here's Whitman to Paul Wright. Trying to finesse it over top of Dowler, but Dowler read it well. Paul did the best he could with a difficult ball close into the net. 4-2 Sockers, and Stars lose it again up at the Sockers line. Here's Paul Wright, heads toward net. Right to center, ahead for Castillo. Led him a little too far with that one. Dowler will come out and clear it. Gets it back. There's a look at John Kerr setting up defensively in the midfield as Bill Crook has it in midfield. Ahead for Medved. Gets behind Kerr, and it went behind Nogueira, but wide. And Sean Medved does a job there on John Kerr, who was forced back as a defender. Back the other way, Wright scores. What a quick transition, and Paul Wright gives the Sockers a 3-goal lead. Well, Paul was due. We talked about the shutouts he'd faced the last 2 nights. And look at Kevin Crow's clearing attempt. It went off the head of Crook, and Paul hits the half volley and buries it behind Mike Dowler. Now, that was Paul who headed it over to the wing, and he just finishes it off with the strike of the right foot. One more look, and Paul with a great finishing touch in the offensive zone. Goal number 2 tonight, goal number 46 on the year. Crow will get the assist. It's 5-2 San Diego. Here's Banks in his own zone up for Wes Wade, another speedster, but Nicky Ristich is just back in time. And now Radwanski back for Tacoma. Well, the Stars are in tough tonight in their own building, where they've been virtually unbeatable this year, losing only 4 times out of 18. Here's Ristich now for Tacoma. Gary Heel. Watched by Ladouceur. Ian works it back to Ristich. In front, Heel, unprotected, is Nogueira, who is able to make a stop. Now clears it along the boards. Radwanski will hold it in. Dougherty tries to work it by him. And now Banks with it for the Sockers. Ballwright's goal coming at 11:05 from Kevin Crow. Stars with it as Ristich starts out from his own zone. Here's Mitchell, who really has been shut down by the Sockers in this game, except for the 1 assist. And he's their leading scorer. And when Mitchell doesn't score, the Stars have a tough time. Radwanski fouled there by Dougherty. Right from Crow at 11:05, your scoring play. Paul Wright second tonight and 46th of the year, so he now has the lead by himself in goal scoring, 1 ahead of Segota for St. Louis. They're idle tonight. Mitchell and Nogueira will grab this. Stars will be in action, or the Storm will be in action tomorrow at Dallas. Here's Banks now around Radwanski. Into the corner, lost it. Now gets it back to Paul Wright. Ball to the red line. Trying to get his way by Greg Ian. Can't. Now the Stars trying to counter out of their own zone, and Guevara kicks it onto somebody on the San Diego bench. And that'll come back down. Sockers ball with 2:04. That's the time remaining here in the third period. Here's a look at Wes Wade over on the Sockers bench. 20 points on the year, having a good season. And we'd like to remind you that you can meet a member of the World Champion Sockers at your local McDonald's on Super Soccer Sunday, April 5th. Autographs and photos with your favorite Sockers. You can also enjoy special prices on Sundays. That's on Super Soccer Sunday, April 5th. Sockers in that Star zone again. Columbia chipping it now into the open corner, and nobody there but Neil Megson for Tacoma. Down to 1:48 left here in the third period. 5-2 San Diego. A 1-goal lead at halftime has turned into a 3-goal lead here in a big third period for Sockers. Valentine works it low against Woodbury. Dougherty comes in to help out on defense. And now Wes Wade will strip it away from Thompson. Here's Wade with Ladouceur 2-on-1. Wade with good speed down the left wing. Back for Jacques, and Dowler will just get to it. Wade was tripped up, but they gave advantage, and then Ladouceur unable to reach the pass. Sockers running the floor well here in the third period. Now here's Thompson for the Stars. Valentine against Woodbury in front. Medved trying to post up and dish a pass off. Tried to buy into the foul, but it wasn't given. Golovnia will play it behind Dougherty, and Paul will slow it down with under a minute to go in the period. Here's Golovnia as Dougherty goes to the bench. Whitman comes on in his place. And Golovnia trying to play it across for Ladouceur, and that'll come out of play for a kick in Tacoma with 46 seconds left here in the third period. There's Mike Dowler, who can't be happy with the defense in front of him, or for that matter some of the plays he's made tonight. This was an important game for the Stars, with that playoff situation being what it is, but also with their road record being what it is. The Stars know they've got to cash in at home. They must win the games in their own building because they are going to struggle on the road. That's been proven all year. They are 2-14 away from home. 2-15. And they've got a back-to-back situation on the road tomorrow night in Wichita against a Wings team that's got to be fired up after their overtime win at home tonight. Here's Kerr. Leaves it for Woodbury. Now back to Paul Wright. Paul trying to work his way by Bill Crook. Can't. Here comes Gary Heel. That one hit Woodbury. Heel will get it back. 20 to go in the period. Here's Heel. To Crook. Nakara the save. Didn't handle it. Comes back into the box, and now he can pick it up. Heel with the great ball to Crook, but he couldn't finish it as Nakara came out and cut off the angle. Now you see it to Paul Wright, and he missed an open net chance. And time runs out as Paul Wright on that ball off the wall from Thompson Usean came fractions away from a hat trick here against the Stars. Another look. It was time. Usean with the wall ball, and Paul Wright switching feet. If he was a little better. Come back to the Tacoma Dome. We've played 3 periods, and the San Diego Sockers leading the Stars by a score of 5-2. There it is. As we get set to go to the fourth quarter here at the Dome. Sockers have been dominant this year, and really over the last 2 years when they lead going into the fourth quarter. 45-2. And one of those 2 losses came earlier this season against Dallas when they were at Reunion Arena and couldn't hold a fourth quarter lead. We'll see how it unfolds here this evening. Tacoma's record 1-15 when they trail going into the fourth period this year. So that's a couple of stats working against. Going into this game, your team was playing a little flat. You're missing Ben Collins, but boy, your defense has been good, and your offense, your forwards have really seized on whatever opportunities they've had, haven't they?
I think we've done well, Randy. Paul Wright looks a bit alive today, and I think he's given them all sorts of trouble. he was unlucky there, right the death there, not to score another goal, which would have been a nice cushion to go into the fourth period with.
You got to get him to work on his left foot shot there, because he switched to his right and that made it go wide. Ron, fourth period here, you've been dominant over the years, particularly the last couple. You haven't given up many leads. What's the key to shutting down Tacoma here, who obviously are desperate for any kind of a win?
Well, we've just got to make sure that we don't give them a goal to get into the game. If they want to score it, let's make sure they work hard for it. But we don't want to give any silly ones away. And they're going to come hard now for the next 10 minutes and obviously pull their goalkeeper. We've done quite well when they've done that situation. So we just have to make sure they don't score a goal in the first 5 minutes, I think, Randy.
Finally, Ron, one thing that stands out tonight is your work defensively against Dale Mitchell, obviously one of the top scorers in the league. Tacoma isn't a high-scoring team. I guess if you can shut him down, you've got a pretty good chance against this club.
Yeah, because you never know when he's going to come alive. And you guys up there usually say when you haven't seen him much this game, that the guy usually goes to score as a goal. So don't say it, will you?
Did I say that?
No, usually, you know, you guys up there say those things and they turn around and score a goal immediately. So
nice to know somebody's listening to me. Appreciate it, Ron.
All right, Randy.
Good luck.
Bye.
Auto Trader's Coaches Report been brought to you by the Auto Trader. For effective and inexpensive advertising, pick up a copy of the Auto Trader. Wow, the coach listens. Gosh, if I'd have known that, I'd have given him a lot more advice. Yeah, right, like he'd have taken that. We're set to go for the fourth period here. The Stars need 3 to tie. And there's the Sockers after 3 quarters, 19-2 this season. Not bad numbers. And from the kickoff, Freddie Thompson has it blocked by Whitman. There's Dowler now defending the net to our right, as Tacoma will attack right to left in this fourth period. And they really need some kind of comeback. Mitchell clearing one that Nogueira picks up. Victor pressured and will release to center for Wes Wade. Back through for Whitman. Timmy after it. Has Wade in front, and then he's tripped up by Ristich on his way by. No foul. And I don't know if the Wichita Wings have tapped into the telecast somewhere wherever they are. This is a national game on Sports Channel America, but they are really pulling for San Diego right now. Really everybody pulling for San Diego as long as they're not playing them, because the Sockers have already clinched and everybody else trying to get in. Sockers can have a lot to say about who does and doesn't get in down the final stretch of the season. Here's Valentine for the Stars. And you know, this franchise, which probably is the least stable of the 7 in the league, could use a shot in the arm that the playoffs would bring. Financially and attendance-wise, everything. Here's Valentine on the steal, kicks it into Whitman, gets it to Heel. Now the wall ball. Good job by Banks. Found his man Golovnia, and back to Nogueira. Victor comes up throwing. Ladouceur just a half step late coming off the end of the bench. This will go back for Dowler. We've played a minute and a half of the fourth period. Tacoma trailing the Sockers 5-2. Ristich up to Mitchell, back through, and Crow just knocking that away as Medved was waiting for it. Ladouceur pressured by Ian, given a shove, but play goes on as he gets it back to Nogueira. Victor will chip up for center. Wes Wade was coming back. Victor had seen him up there, but the Stars will get it back. Sockers right now just kind of dumping it up to midfield. And the Stars trying to bring it back against what has been a very tightly knit San Diego defense tonight in the absence of Ben Collins. Played into the corner. Medved up high, back for Radwanski with room, but Crow came in to block it. Now Crook with a shot. Look out. That's in the seats. And that'll come back as a goal kick for Victor Nogueira. If you've joined us late, Ben Collins this evening was scheduled to undergo arthroscopic surgery on his injured knee. And they're not sure exactly what procedure will be necessary. That'll be determined once they get inside. But Collins certainly gone for the rest of the regular season, and we can only guess about the playoffs. Right now, Ron Newman concerned about holding on to this 3-goal lead here in the fourth period, but he'll have plenty of time to wonder about how he'll deal with the playoffs, if that's to be the case, without Ben Collins. Collins last year was most valuable player in the championship series, as Nogueira kicks it out. If the Sockers do win tonight, you see it there, their magic number to clinch first overall will go down to 2. They have only to beat out Dallas for first place. The Sockers will play Dallas one more time. So if the Sockers were to win tonight and at least win that last game against Dallas, they'd be assured of first place, because a win over Dallas is a 2-game swing, and that's all the Sockers would need after tonight. One would hope they don't leave it that late. Dallas is the last game of the season. Here's Valentine. Back now for Bill Crook. Tacoma needs goals, and they need them quickly. Here's Medved. Crook hits it across to Valentine. Valentine will take on Dougherty. Down the right side. Paul bumps him into the boards. Megson back for Crook. Shot. Nogueira save. Rebound, and Dougherty will clear it. Paul Wright heads it back to midfield. Now Crow with one man back clears it to Woodbury. Nogueira stopped it. It went off the crossbar, and Dougherty cleared it. Medved bumps Castillo off the ball, but turns it right back over. Here's Woodbury with Wright and Castillo to Paul Wright, off the wall, and almost kicked into his own net by Medved. Stars scrambling in their own zone here. Here's Castillo holding it in the corner. Back to Dougherty. Great save by Dowler. Now Woodbury as the Sockers put on the pressure. Dougherty shot. Dowler save again. And it comes out to Ian. Great play by the 11-year veteran Mike Dowler from Wales. Now the Stars trying to come back. Banks off the end of the bench. Big stop there as he stripped it away from Mitchell. And now Castillo kicks back to Nogueira. 10:48 left here in the fourth period, and the Sockers with a 5-2 lead. Nogueira forced to come out. Still back there in the corner. Gets it out to Ladouceur. Now Ian gets it back. Turns around. Ran into Golovnia. Comes to Mitchell in the corner. He tries to deal with two Sockers back there. And San Diego able to clear it to center. Back is Ristich. Usian gets it away from him. Shot off the glass. And the Stars with it again. Up for Ian. Soft shot at net. Nogueira knocked it down, then gets the rebound from Golovnia. Great goalkeeping at both ends. As Nogueira wastes a few precious seconds and kicks it to midfield, headed by Ristich back the other way, but Crow intercepts. A lot of turnovers by Tacoma, a lot of them unforced. Here's Banks, 3-on-2. To Kerr. Back across, they score! Oh, flat-footed Tacoma defense. Thompson, Ristich, and Heel all back there ball watching, and it's 6-2, and that may have been enough. David Banks will get the goal. Here's another look. Watch the Stars defense, kind of frozen here, not sure what to do. Kerr back through for Banks, and the defender coming out of the back, David Banks, gets the goal. Heel didn't really challenge John Kerr. He just watched him pass it, and Kerr found Banks back through the middle. We pause with 9:51 left here in the fourth period. The Sockers lead at 6-2.
Today is a very good day.
Sockers, ball for Woodman, gets it back. The left footer goes wide. Now Megson in the corner, gets it away. And now Valentine up for Radwanski. He'll play it back to Crook. Valentine walking it across the red line. Better hurry up, Carl. You need 4 goals. Now back up the wing for Gary Heel. Heel, who has one of the 2 Tacoma goals tonight. Ridden off the ball by Woodbury. Back into the hands of Nogueira. And the Sockers playing one of those textbook kind of games here tonight in Tacoma. Very solid defensively. Nogueira's giving him the kind of goalkeeping that earned him MVP honors last year and just may do it again this year. And down at the other end, Dougherty and Wright are filling the net. 2 goals each for those 2. Here's Usian, and he tried to put it off the glass. He knew Dowler was caught a little bit out of the net, and he had Dougherty up there, but just a little too high and out of play. Well, it's been a long night for Mike Dowler. Certainly not as long as a couple of weeks ago against Wichita, when the Tacoma Stars were absolutely blown out by the Wings by a score of 14-3. But at home, he's not used to seeing this many go by him. Last Sunday in that game against Wichita, the Stars beat the Wings 11-6 here. And the offense just not coming tonight for Tacoma. Cleared back for Nogueira. Victor picks up the long throw for Dougherty, who's alone on the left side. Gets it back across for Wade, and Dowler comes out, then collides with Wade. Dowler has Wade by the throat. Now they're going at it. We've got round 2 at the Tacoma Dome. Wade went up high for that ball, and he certainly had every right to challenge Dowler for it. Dowler came down after the collision with his hand seemingly on Wade's throat. And now they're shaking hands, and that's the end of that. Well, here's another look. Dougherty plays this off the glass. Now Wade came in a little late with the right knee up high, and then Dowler grabbed a handful of Wade's shirt. West gives him a smack in the forehead. And here's another look. They were basically all 3 of them, Ian included, going after that ball, and Dowler, I think, thought about it after the initial frustration and decided it wasn't worth it. His team's in the playoff race, and they can't afford to lose him to a suspension. And had he continued, that's probably what he would have been in for with the red card. Here's Ian up for Gary Heel, trying to head it down for control, but Ladouceur gets it back. There were no penalties out of that between Wade and Dowler, simply a foul to Wade. Ristich in front for Heel. Ladouceur clears that away, and now Banks sends it across midfield. 7:24 left in the 4th period. 6-2 San Diego. Sockers rolling here on a pair of goals each from Dougherty and Wade. And that one will go out into the Sockers bench, and we get an official timeout with 7:16 left here in the 4th period. I want to remind you, coming up Saturday, April 4th, with the score here 6-2, the Sockers are going to finish up the regular season against the Dallas Sidekicks. That'll be fan appreciation night. Also team photo night. Every fan will get a free Sockers 91-92 team photo. Compliments of Coca-Cola and Vons. Fans will also have a chance to win one of over 75 great fan appreciation night prizes to be given away that evening. Tickets for fan appreciation night on sale at the Sports Arena box office, all Ticketmaster locations, or call the Sockers at 224-GOAL. Now here's a look at Victor Nogueira earlier on with Bill Crook delivering it directly at net, and Victor reaching out, the right arm stop off the crossbar, and then Dougherty there for support to clear it away, with Sean Medved hoping for an opportunity on the rebound. And it's been that kind of play by Nogueira, along with the support from everyone defensively, that's held Tacoma to their 2-goal total so far in this game. Well, it's now 6th attacker time. At least Keith Weller thinks so. That's Greg Ian. And they have 10 6th attacker goals this year and have only surrendered 3 against when they've been in that situation. But they're going to go for the better half of a half period here. 7:16 left. And the Stars are going to go with their net empty. They need 4 to tie it, but Weller's thinking is fairly sound here. We might as well try because we need the points. We're desperate for anything, and we don't really care how many we lose by. And there is Ian now with that yellow jersey on. Of course, the Sockers are one of those teams that can really burn you with that empty net because of their speed, and they've got 2 of their burners on right now, Wright and Wade. 6-2 as we are down to the last half of this 4th period. Here's Ian to Crook. He'll settle it for Valentine. Stars net to our right is empty. Now Crook gets some room in the corner. Shot, save, rebound, Mitchell scores. And that's 1. Well, Crook got lots of space in the corner and was able to play that wall ball perfectly to Mitchell. And Dale finishes it off nicely for Dale Mitchell. That'll be goal number 41 and his first in this game. And it couldn't have come in a better spot because it comes right as the Stars go 6th attacker. So now it's a 3-goal game. There's another look as Nogueira was way across on the other side. Plenty of defenders around for San Diego, but nobody was going to stop that. So it's 6-3. 41st of the year. Crook will get the assist at 8:06. And now the Stars have put Dowler, as you see Mitchell there. Dowler is back in the net. So they're going to play even strength for a while. I don't know if that's such a good idea. I say if you've got momentum with the 6th attacker, stay with it. But Weller is going to go even strength for a while. Here's Valentine now at his own red line. Perhaps he just wanted to win possession and then he'll bring Dowler out. We'll see. Here's Mike now kicking it deep. After it is Mitchell. Woodbury back there for San Diego will reach it first. He'll play it to Victor off the wall. Well, that broke a string of 4 straight goals by San Diego. Still a lot of work for the Stars to do, though. 6:20 left in regulation. They trail at 6-3. Here's Woodbury. Usean watched by Crook. He'll bump it back toward his own net. He gave it away. But now the Sockers get it back. Good hustle there in the midfield from Golovnia to create the turnover again the other way. Now ball right to Golovnia, up for Usean. Thompson back through the middle. Here's Golovnia. He lost his man. Shot and saved by Dowler. Point blank. Alex Golovnia with a good effort to shake his defender. Woodbury kicking at that one and then fouling Valentine. Stars wanted 2 minutes. No blue card from Brian Hall. Valentine can't sell him on the suggestion that that was of a nature that deserved a power play for Tacoma. There's the scoring play. Mitchell with his 41st from Crook at 8:06. Now on the restart, Medved with it for Tacoma. They trail by 3 and they pulled Dowler again from the net. So the Tacoma goal to our right is empty, and Ian back out there as the 6th attacker. Here is Greg Ian at center. 5.5 to go. Valentine watched by Whitman. Ian plays it over to the boards. Crook got it, lost it. Now Kerr to Whitman. One man back, but the ball will bounce into the Tacoma bench. And the Wings will restart it. Well, there's Tim Whitman. He has a goal. As Makeson leaves it to Gabera. Here's Jim Gabera. Up the right side, Makeson will go to the corner, drive it. Comes free to heel, turn, shot off the glass. Mitchell, rebound, blocked in front by Banks. Stars still battling. Medved turns for a shot, and that's blocked. Gabera trying to keep it alive. Under 5 minutes left now. Here's Ian to Gabera, down the right wing. Shot off the head of Woodbury out of, and a corner kick. Well, if you remember early in the game, we talked about the head-to-head things to watch for in this game. The Stars only 23 goals in the 6 games against San Diego, and they've had trouble scoring here tonight. Dale Mitchell now with 8 of the 26 goals against San Diego. And of course the Stars battling for a playoff spot. Paul Wright hot again tonight with 2 goals. The Stars were able to stop the Sockers counterattacking last couple of games, but not tonight. Here's Mitchell on the corner kick. 6th attacker. Heel, and he roofs it, and that's in the second deck here at the Dome. And that'll be goal kick now for San Diego as Gary Heel just blasts it. Victor Nogueira as cool as ever in net. There's Greg Ian back at the 6th attacker position, and now Weller is going to keep him out there even though the Sockers will have possession to start out here. Ian trying to get the attention of someone over on the Stars bench. Greg Ian from Canada really only had a cup of coffee with the Sockers a couple of years ago when he came to San Diego in a deal that eventually saw him leave San Diego as part of the whole salary cap situation. Never did play a regular season game. Radwanski back to Ian. Now up the middle of the field for Sean Medved. He'll knock it back against the flow for Megson. Now Mitchell as the Stars build up from midfield. Here's Heel back for Ian. Ian gets past Wes Wade to Gabera. Gabera from the red line. Back for Greg Ian. Winds for the left footer. It's deflected. Mitchell trying to get it at that far post. Couldn't. Comes back down to Gabera. He'll hit it high and out of play. We'll wait for the call to see if it was tipped by a Socker. Currently not. We'll get goal kick. Well, playoff tickets for games 1 and 2 of the semifinal series, and these are for you non-season ticket holders who already have your seats, go on sale Monday morning at 10. These are single game tickets for games 1 and 2 of the semifinals. You can also buy a strip for all the playoffs, but those are available at the Sports Arena box office only. Those single game tickets are available at the box office and at any Ticketmaster location. Monday morning, though, they go on sale. Here's Nogueira now for San Diego with 4:05 left in regulation. To center and off John Kerr. This will go back to Ian in the penalty area. And now Bill Crook. 6-3 San Diego leading, with the Stars with 1/6 attacker goal, but they've had trouble since. Mitchell back to Ian. Cuts it to the corner. Medved, one touch back to Mitchell. Fed it through the middle. Now he'll get it back. Tough ball, though. Flips it up. Kevin Crow goes over. Knocks it down. Stars keep it alive. And finally, Banks will send it past midfield. Ian dribbling back up the field. Gets it by Kerr to Mitchell. Mitchell now off the glass, and it goes out of play. And that'll go to Victor Nogueira once again on a goal kick. And it's been a frustrating night for the Stars. Just cannot put the ball past Nogueira. The shots have been pretty even through 3 periods. San Diego only outshooting Keith Weller's Stars 23-20. So it certainly hasn't been a case of the Sockers totally dominating offensively. The Stars have had their shots, but Nogueira and the defense have been superior. And now Weller's got to get his team psyched for a road game, and it's tomorrow night. It will not be a pleasant red-eye flight for the Stars unless they can pull this one out of the hat here in the final 3 minutes. Nogueira with the throw to Yusian at center. Heel will just send this right back to the 6th attacker, Ion. He points down to Valentine. Has to send it to center for Radwanski, who almost gave it back to Yusian. Here's Radwanski. And now the Sockers have the Stars bottled up in their own end here, and they need to get down into the Sockers' end. Woodbury will steal it, and rather than head toward the empty net, he sends it back to Banks. Good play. Now David across for Kevin Crow. Sockers with lots of field to work with here. Kevin, a nice little scoop pass up for Woodbury. And Woodbury looks back again for Golovnia. This is great ball control by San Diego. Ball right now. Makes a turn on Valentine at center. Turning back toward his own end again, and Paul will play it to Crow. 2:20 left. For Castillo. Mirko trying to work it to Woodbury. Medved had it, but gave it back to Crow off the wall. All right, looking for Castillo. Gets it to him left side. Mirko with good foot skills. Dealing with Crook back there. Crow up for Woodbury. Terry with a nice soft touch there to Paul Wright. And now down to 1:45, and the Stars just can't get the ball away from San Diego here. Is this some kind of a display? How many consecutive passes has it been? 20 or so? Finally, the Stars get it. As Ian waits for it to come into the box, drops it down and plays it to Radwanski. So the Sockers are going to reduce their magic number to 2 with the win here tonight and improve on their already league best road record that coming in was 10-7. As Wade blocks it out of play for Tacoma restart with 1:17 to go. So the Sockers will avoid losing 3 in a row once more. And it will continue to go back a long time since they lost 3 games straight back in 1990. 1:17 to go, and now the 6th attacker, Greg Ion, with it into the corner. Shot by Megson, and at the far post, Heel unable to knock it in. All right, long pass for Wade. Ion, the 6th attacker, hurrying back, and now the Stars have it. So a great chance for the Sockers, or for the Stars down at the other end, but it's not their night as Ion comes back. Here's Valentine down the right wing. Shot deflected away. And now Nogueira picks up. open net chance, and Paul Wright will score. And that makes it 7-3, and Paul Wright completes the hat trick. So Paul Wright breaks out of a 2-game scoreless streak in a big way. But everyone has shared in this victory. Another look as Radwanski thought about a handball, but figured what the heck. And Paul Wright finishes it nicely, just fighting the inside part of the post. And that'll give Paul the hat trick tonight. And it'll also give him his 47th goal of the year. And now simply to run down the final half minute. Nogueira did get an assist there. And it is a big one. We'll tell you why as he picks it up. That's because Victor, with that assist, ties Jim Gorsuch for the all-time points lead among goalkeepers for San Diego. And one more point for Victor, and that'll be another record he holds all alone. There's the time remaining in the game, and Nogueira won't have to pass it to anyone if he doesn't want to. Golovnia will touch it, and that's going to do it as the Sockers win.